independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Russia investigation has certainly entered an explosive and new chapter, and it is right up in the president's kitchen. There are even more bombshells dropping tonight following Michael Cohen's second guilty plea. As you know, the president's former lawyer and called his fixer today tied the president to some of the highest levels of the Russian government. He says the president and he both lied about a proposed deal with the Russians. However, Michael Cohen did it to Congress. And all this was done when the president was the presumptive nominee.
Oh, my God, it's all over. This is it, the smoking gun. The domino is tipping, and it's going to start to pick up. Holy jeez. Oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. No. First of all, he was a presumptive nominee. He was still a businessman, right? He was doing his thing. But they offered him Putin a $50 million penthouse. Now, somebody in the Trump organization said, hey, it'd be a good idea if we give this guy a penthouse, right? Right, we throw this guy a penthouse. That'll be a good idea. That's like, like, hey, I go into a club and girls get in free and park the Ferraris out in front because you want to make sure everything's okay. We'll give him throw him in a $50 million penthouse. It'll be a good thing. All of this over stuff that hasn't happened and never happened and that people kind of knew about. Well, Chad, they lied. What do we talk about on the show all the time? What do we talk about all the time on the show? It's the cover-up, right? It's not the crime. I'll throw something else at you. I was talking to my buddy. We had a goofy conversation last night on my way home. And prosecutor dude, used to be, hates Trump with a passion. Can't stand the guy. And we were talking about, did they really have anything? He's like, no. He goes, if they had something, none of them would see jail at all. And if they did, it would be so insignificant that it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. It would be 60 days, 90 days. Manafort's going to jail for the rest of his life. Cohen's going to jail for 4 to 5, 6, 8, 10 years. If you had enough information to bring the president down, your attorney would get you such immunity that they would say, look, I'll give you all the information you need and then some. What I need is full immunity from all of these charges. You turn and look the other way. I walk out of here doing no time at all. And what I have will change it. Everything. Sammy the Bull Gravano killed 19 people that people knew of. He did very little time for that. Very little time. And that was time that he was being held for something else. And they said, you can go scot-free. Scot-free. Because he had enough information to bring down the Teflon Don, John Gotti. You don't think Trump's bigger than that? You don't think Trump is bigger than that? Information that could potentially bring down the president because it is so damning and it changed the way the election went and it changed the way everything, and you have that information. You were that dialed in a situation that information is right in front of you and you can change history? If you had real information, they wouldn't be there talking to you. They'd be going, so what do you want? Manafort might have said, why don't you guys look the other way, right? I'll pay a few fines. You guys look the other way. Here's all the information I know. I want full immunity from everything, period, case closed, end of story. Cohen wouldn't see the light of a jail cell ever if you had that kind of information. Lying about a deal that you thought was given up in February, but here it is, October, and you're still potentially talking about a deal? That's the damning information? Of course. I mean, he's a real estate developer. He wants to develop properties all over the place. And when you're a real estate developer like that, you're not probably putting up big new real estate developments in Chad. You're putting them in Moscow. You're putting them in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar. not Yemen.
Both lied about a proposed deal with the Russians. However, Michael Cohen did it to Congress. And all this was done when the president was the presumptive nominee. It was about a Trump Tower project in Moscow. And now we're learning from another former close associate of the president's, a man named Felix Sater, that the 2016 project included offering Vladimir Putin a penthouse in the tower, reportedly worth $50 million.
Yeah. Trump didn't come up with that. Somebody else did. None of this stuff happened, though. Right? None of it happened. There's no Trump Tower. There's none of that stuff. I mean, look, the lies, the perjury, that's where this is headed. Unless there's something damning, the Roger Stone's going to be convicted of something. And this is why Corsi and all them are telling me, yeah, you know what? You can go stick it. I'll sit here and I'll take my chances and we'll go from there. It's because if people really had something, right? Like if you had something on, there was a crime committed, right? There's a crime committed and it's a big crime. And they call you in and they tell you you've got an attorney and they tell you and your attorney you're going to do forever in jail or XYZ in jail if you don't cooperate with us. And you look at them and say, how bad do you want this? And that's when the negotiation begins. And if the best negotiation plea deals you get are you're spending forever in jail anyways, then what's the use? My best bet, if I'm Manafort, is keep my mouth shut and hope this guy gives me a pardon. Because he didn't have anything. Cohen, he could sing like a bird all day. Well, we lied about this and we lied about that because he's going to jail. And they know that. If he really had something that was devastating. Now, the WikiLeaks stuff, Roger Stone, things of that nature. I've always said Don Jr., potentially Jared. Now they're trying to lump in Ivanka. Those, to me, are going to be a bigger issue than whether or not they've got enough to eventually get Trump out of there. And that's what this is, for one side of the aisle, that's all this is. Do I think the domino is falling? No, but some people do.
Today's the first day I actually thought Donald Trump might not finish his term in office.
Really?
I mean, I think this thing is enormous.
Of course you do. But as you know, and remember, when you go on these shows, you have to overstate. It is about big. It's about bold. It's a giant headline. After that, nobody else cares. You've got them hooked. Today's the first day that I think that Donald Trump will be impeached, will be going to jail. It's happening. Mark my word. People could say those things because, A, you're not being held accountable for any of those things you're saying, meaning you're not going to be fired for getting it wrong. And people are like, oh, look, Jeffrey Toobin has to say. What does he have to say? What does he have to say? Now it's about a Trump Tower deal. What did they know? Are they friends? Are they in cahoots? Are they? What do they know? What do they know? Did they have naked pictures of him? Did they have all of these things? Were they laundering money through the Trump? What's going on? So people want to know. Now, I'm not saying there's not somebody else out there who doesn't have information. But if you think these two yahoos are the people who are going to take Trump down, no. There may be others out there who are waiting, and they've got that literally, quote-unquote, Trump card that will get them out of jail for free. But these two, it ain't it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet about us. Our cow that we love, Knickers, I guess the competitive eating people, producer Phil, they want to eat Knickers in a competitive eating contest.
I'm up for that.
So, but now Knickers is too famous now. He's too famous and he's not stopping growing. He's like, it's Anthony Robbins, but it's a cow. Sounds awful. I'm kidding, Tony. Come on now. You know you love it. Butcher Box, amazing. Coming to your door. Right there, to your door. What do you have? A bunch of meat. Not just any kind of meat. The best cuts around. The best. Premium meat like you're not going to find at any store. Delivered right to your door. Grass-fed, grass-finished. Organic, free-ranging chicken. Heritage pork. Bred in a way that it keeps their fat and their flavor. It is incredible. Cuts are amazing. The quality is just nuts. And the competitiveness and price is through the roof. You can't get this anywhere else. A month's worth of meals, less than $6 a meal. Boom. And not just like, oh, this costs less than $6 and it's adequate. No. Hey, this costs less than $6 and I'm not going to find this at any one of those big steakhouses that are overcharging me. So what are you doing? Jump on this right now. This is what they're doing for my listeners. $20 off, and with your subscription, free bacon for the life of your subscription. But hurry, offer ends soon. ButcherBox.com/Chad. 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 Makes great Christmas present as well. At Chad Benson Show. Twitter, ChadBenson. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
Melody Blankenship has lived in Alaska for over 30 years and says she has never felt a quake this big. She was at her office at our ABC News affiliate in Anchorage.
This sudden shaking, and then all of a sudden you heard this really loud roaring noise. And then the shaking just got harder and harder.
She says a few seconds before they could feel the quake and an aftershock that they could hear the quake, it was a rumbling noise. She says lights are out all over the area.
Yeah, massive, huge. 7.0, about 25 miles deep. And for people who've never been in an earthquake, some of you have, some of you haven't, there's two kinds of quakes. There's the quake that is shallow under the ground, but very shaky, quick, kind of. Then there's the rumble, and that is completely different. The rumble is much different than the shallow one, because you'll hear it coming up slowly. You'll think, oh, and you'll wait like at night. And I've been in more than a few earthquakes in my lifetime. And what happens is at night, like when you're asleep, people will tell you, they just kind of like to hear a little something and they wake up, and then it's boom, you feel it. And that one sways a little bit more. And when that one sways, that one's far worse. That does worse damage than the quick shaker ones. It's a big one, 7.0. They had a 9.2, Good Friday, 1964. And it is, you live in a place where there's volcanoes, the Ring of Fire, as they call it. You're going to have these kind of things. And, it's like everywhere there's something. You got typhoons in one part of the world. You got hurricanes. You got blizzards. You've got the magical world of the center of our country with Tornado Alley. And then, on the West Coast, from California, Mexico up to, through, that part of the ocean out into Portland and all the way up to Seattle and into Alaska, you've got fault lines, and it can get scary. That's for damn sure. But the thing I always tell everybody, this is the difference between us and other parts of the world when you find out that they have shakes that are nowhere near as big as this. How many people died? Damage was done, but a lot of it was, superficial damage, things broken, offices, stuff like that. We build things in anticipation of this. Things are on rollers, like look at Japan. But every once in a while, you're going to get something. No matter how good you build it, no matter how strong you think you've done it, nature at some point in time going to mess you up. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. People tweeting and texting in about that there thing that I was talking about with Cohen, and people saying, I've never thought of it like that. But that is something to think about. If they really had something that was worth information that was worth it, that could basically end this presidency, Mueller and everybody else would have given them anything they wanted. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter each and every day at this time, no matter what day it is. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We like to do a little something. It's a gift, if you will, from us to you. It's called the Urban Word of the Day.
It's time for the Urban Word of the Day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban Word of the Day.
Clout. You got a little clout. Being famous, right? Having some influence. That's huge. People have clout on the internet. They're influencers. You got clout. meaning a lot of what you say, people will follow you, they will do. Clout. How many people out there have clout? Probably not a lot, right? But you want to get some, and you can get it. Part of that is listen to the urban word of the day every day, and then you'll start getting some clout. Clout is your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you.
That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. We're going to talk a little bit about talent. And I know it sounds weird, in trouble. Because the NFL is, well, as we all know, they got some trouble out there over the last several years, right? It started with Ray Rice, and then it really snowballed within the organization that had nothing to do with outside of the NFL, but inside of the NFL and players that once played with a concussion issue. And then over the last several years, on top of that, you've had the kneeling incidents and you've had this the domestic violence. We're going to talk about it because two things have happened in the last couple days, and it's trouble and talent. What would you do? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. All right, gold. A lot of people bought gold. They didn't know what to do with it because thought the world was going to come to an end or something like that. Whatever reason, some people bought it as an investment. But I will tell you this. Many of you still have your gold. It's sitting there, and you're wondering, what should I save it? Should I get rid of it? I'd like to spend some of it, but I want to keep some of it. That's where Glint comes in. Their founders, Jason and Ben, they've put together the most amazing thing. How would you like to be able to spend off that gold in real time at any place? Any place there's an electronic point of sale. You go to buy a coffee, get it. How does that happen? You're going to get a MasterCard debit card, and you're going to be able to spend off that immediately. You can't do it anywhere else. Let me tell you something. Gold provides you more control and choice for you. It is incredible. And now is your chance. Go to glintpay.com right now. Check it out for yourself. GLINTPAY.com. Glintpay.com. Gold's the most reliable store of value. Glint is the only way to spend it. Go to glintpay.com today. That's glintpay.com. At Chad Benson Shows, your Twitter, ChadBenson. Trouble and talent. Sometimes they go together. You got to make a choice. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Cleveland is a little ahead of himself by saying now this is so significant. It's the first time that he can see the end of the Trump presidency. But I think what really is significant is that Cohen is now Mueller's witness. And you talk to people who know and work in this world to get the number one lawyer for the person that you're really that you're aiming at is worth getting 10 other witnesses.
Bob Woodward there. So let me tell you guys something, right? I want you guys to understand that what happened yesterday, which the media just went into a tizzy, like this is it, right? You know, you got Jeffrey Toobin over there on the old CNN, coming out and just being talk about hyperbole.
Today's the first day I actually thought Donald Trump might not finish his term in office.
Really?
I mean, I think this thing is enormous.
Except for one thing, all right? Except for one thing. This Cohen isn't the end-all to be all. All right? He isn't. He's his fixer. Now, what does he fix? Is he the guy that goes in and fixes all of his business? No. He fixes the problems in the personal side that could get nasty and ugly, the sleazy side of Donald Trump when it comes to women and things like that. Right? That's what he is. He's not the number one. There are law firms all over that represent the Trump organizations that deal with the other side of business. And these guys know that, but they're trying to catch you, right? Get you, oh my God, this is it. Like, can you imagine the size of, think about this, the size of Trump Industries. Do you think they have Michael Cohen as their lead guy? Is that what you think? Are you kidding me? A single lawyer? He isn't from a large, massive law firm. No. He basically has 2 or 3 or 4 clients that he fixes stuff with. If he had anything of true significance that could potentially topple this presidency, he'd never see a day in jail. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Never, 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 ever, 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 never. No. He would get full immunity. They would look the other way. He'd pay a couple small fines and he'd keep his license and he could move on with his life. If he had any real information that was so earth-shattering, any good lawyer would walk in there representing him and say, all right, here's the deal. What we have here will essentially cause this president to either be impeached, indicted, resign, all 3, but it'll be over for him once all of this comes out. Once all of this comes out, that's what will happen. And they'd be like, oh. And then they would say, before you get any of that, he never wants to see a day in jail. He wants full immunity. The $4 million, the bank fraud, the hiding it and tax evasion, will pay a small fine, and that's it. Otherwise, kick sand. Bye-bye. Now, I'm not saying there's not people out there that may have information. It just ain't this guy. It ain't Manafort. Sammy the Bull Gravano killed 19 people that we know of, and he confessed to it. How much time did he do? Why? Because the fish that they wanted wasn't him. And they were willing to overlook the 19 murders he confessed to and all of the other horrific things he had did because the end game was to get John Gotti. Think about that for a second. Just for a smidge. To bring down the president? What would Mueller and everybody do? I think his son may be in some trouble. I think Jared may be in some trouble. But based on this right here, it's more of a headache than anything else. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Talent and trouble. Right? Stars. You go and look at, for years and years and decades, we look at people and we say, God, they're troubled. But they're so talented. So they get shot after shot after shot, opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And that doesn't matter, what it is, across all spectrums. I mean, you may work somewhere where your hotshot salesperson is a pain in the ass, causes lots of issues, has had more than a few run-ins with whatever, and yet because the talent they bring is so significant and they're worth something to the company, they're willing to give them opportunity after opportunity, and if they leave there, they go somewhere else, somebody's willing to give them opportunity. The NFL has a lot of issues. It's got issues with concussions, which I think is its biggest issue, and we'll touch on that in a bit. It's got issues with the kneeling and how that has hurt the brand itself and the way that they handled it. But for the last umpteen years, they've had issues that have been in the spotlight when it comes to domestic abuse. It started with Ray Rice and the video that came out. Lo and behold, one of the big stars, potentially the NFL MVP, Kareem Hunt of the high-flying Kansas City Chiefs. A video came out today, courtesy of the only honest news network in the world, TMZ.
This is Cleveland Police.
A 19-year-old woman called Cleveland Police back in February to say Kansas City Chiefs running back Kareem Hunt assaulted her in a hotel.
Okay, and who assaulted you?
I think his first name is Kareem.
Surveillance footage appeared to show Hunt shoving the woman and kicking her while she was on the ground. She told police the alleged assault happened after she refused to have sex with someone in Hunt's entourage. Hunt said the woman went on an expletive-laden rant and refused to leave his room. There were no charges filed. The Chiefs excused Hunt from practice after the video was released.
Yeah. And you're talking about a guy right now who is literally one of the engines driving a team that everybody's excited about. You've got a young quarterback that is high-flying, right? You've got an offense that seems to be more like a college offense that can put up 50 points a game. They look like they could potentially be on the way. Just 2 weeks ago, played a Monday Night Football game that people talked about at the water cooler the next day. Even people who aren't football. Did you see that game with the Rams? Did you see that game with the Chiefs? And then there's Kareem Hunt, the superstar that he is. He's only 23 years old, and he's a stud. He is. He's the kind of guy that they talk about, if he's even, he's leaving. World-class speed. If he left football today and wanted to be a track athlete, chances are he'd be in the next Olympics. He's a freak. Incredible. And there he is on camera. And that is, as we know with Ray Rice and what we saw, that is something completely different than hearing. Remember Ray Rice? Remember all of that? He got a 2-game suspension from the NFL. Commissioner brought him in, spoke to him and his then girlfriend, now wife. By the way, they've never had any problems since. So they come in and it becomes this big deal, and they have all these commercials and the whole 9 yards, and they decide they're going to suspend him for the year, and he's never played football ever again. Ray Rice was past it, though. 23, 24 years old, and you're the top of the game, people are willing to overlook. Case in point, this past week. Yeah, this past week, something else has happened. A guy by the name of Reuben Foster, who's had a run-in before with the law and domestic violence, had yet another one.
Just days after appearing in an orange jail jumpsuit, accused again of domestic violence, the Washington Redskins are offering to put Reuben Foster in a burgundy and gold NFL uniform. The young linebacker, who has faced game suspensions and a weapons charge, was released by the 49ers after this latest incident.
Yes, yet another incident. He's released. He's released because of what he did to his ex-girlfriend / girlfriend.
Your ex-boyfriend did what?
Took my phone and broke it and slapped me in my face.
Claiming Foster is a controversial move for the Redskins. As police and the NFL investigate, he can't play for now.
Yeah. But he's got talent. And he's 24. He can get to the quarterback. The other one could score at will. You walk a fine line. It doesn't look good for the NFL. Kareem Hunt's not going to play the rest of this year. He's not. The Reuben Foster thing is an interesting thing. It's an ugly look for the NFL that somebody claimed him off waivers. You know why they did that? First of all, he's 24. Secondly, the woman who is accusing him has already been caught lying once before when she accused him before. And here's where bad judgment comes in. If somebody accuses you of something awful, potentially destroys your life and your livelihood, and you choose to go back to them, that shows that you have poor judgment.
There's no guarantee he's ever going to play here, to be honest with you. I mean, he's got a lot of work to do, personally, with the team, with the NFL, with himself, before he even thinks about playing football again.
The NFL's got a lot of thinking to do, but I think we all know this. If you have talent, you're going to get far more chances than somebody who is essentially done. 30-year-old Ray Rice wasn't 23-year-old Ray Rice, so he was no use to anybody. He probably had a year or two left. 23-year-old Kareem Hunt, potential MVP in the prime of his career. 24-year-old Reuben Foster can get to the quarterback. Got a lot of thinking to do, NFL. You got a lot of thinking to do. But it shows you, in a lot of ways, it's a business, and they're willing to win at all cost, even if it means they lose. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Medicare, it's open enrollment time, right? So it's right here. It's going on right now. How would you like to have direct access to a dedicated agent to help you make really important decisions? You can do that when you join AMAC for free for a year. amac.us/Chad. They're partnering with Senior Resource Network. It's available to you when you sign up for that 1-year free membership. On top of that, The other thing that AMAC offers is politically, they're going to go out and they're going to advocate on your behalf on common sense immigration reform, Social Security reform, things like that. They're going to take up the fight for conservative ideas that you believe in that maybe don't jive with things like ARP. And on top of that, they're going to offer you benefits, so many benefits, 40% off movie tickets, retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, amusement park. You want to go to amusement park? How about huge discounts on Disneyland, SeaWorld, Legoland, things like that? So many things they offer you. Now, here's the great thing. It's not going to cost you a penny. Not a penny. 1 year free. All you do, they want your credit card. All you have to do is just sign up. No credit card. Go to amac.us/Chad. That's amac.us/Chad. 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 AMAC is better. Better for you. Better for America. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. We'll talk about the movies that are out this weekend. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
Print free. Not a lot of movies coming out this weekend that are worth the damn. I mean, really, it's like a super dead weekend. Possession of Hannah Grace, horror movie, Anna and the Apocalypse, which looks really funny, and it's got huge buzz. Picture Zombieland and Walking Dead, but a musical, and that's what it is. So that's supposed to be good. Possession of Hannah Grace is supposed to be scurry, but we passed the scary part of the year. Driver X and Head Full of Honey. Next week, you've got Nothing Big coming out. But then on December 12th, you have Once Upon a Deadpool, which is what they've decided to do is they feel like they're missing a part of the audience, right? So there's a part of the audience they're not getting to because it's rated R. So what they've done is they've done a PG-13 version of Deadpool, and I'm interested to see how, that is. And so I've taken my son's 8. For those of you guys who don't know, Jack. For those of you who are new to the Chad Benson festival here, he's 8, and the superhero movies that are PG-13, Venom, Avengers, those. I'll take it. I think Aquaman's PG-13. We're gonna go see that, right? I'm not really worried. The cartoonish kind of violence and stuff. I don't know how they're going to pull Once Upon a Deadpool off, because the movie, first of all, the language is hilarious. The writing is hilarious. Are you going to lose that? Secondly, the violence. It is gratuitous, right? And gross. And I don't know how they do that. I don't know how they're going to be able to make that thing work. It's going to be very, very interesting to see if they can pull this thing off. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Oh man. So this is I want to get to this and I want you guys to understand something. We get stressed in life, right? You get stressed, I get stressed. And they've done this huge, massive research to find out how do we get people to relax? What is the thing? And they've, for everybody it's his own, for some people it's working out. For some people, they're just high strung. Stress is part of their life. They've learned to live with it. And I think if it went away, they'd stress out of the fact that it's gone away. But for the average person, they need something. They need a little something. Anxiety, stress. So they've looked everywhere and they have found a song, and the research shows that about 60+% of your stress essentially evaporates when this song is played. When this song is played, it evaporates. Wait, what? Now, the one that makes me relax was AC/DC. I listen to AC/DC every day. You're 24, right, Steve? We got Steve filling in for Phil tonight. You're 24, right? You like AC/DC?
Love AC/DC.
See, look at you. Because I work with millennials here, and they don't, like, they've heard some songs, but they're not really, they're like, it's not. And I'm like, dude, come on. AC/DC's it. AC/DC is absolutely it. How can you not? They transcend time. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet right at our faces. Love, hate, you name it, we got it. You got it, we want it. You want it, I got it. Follow us on Facebook as well. Go to the TuneIn Radio app and grab the podcast wherever it's available, thechadshow.com. It is The Chad Benson Show.
This is The Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's The Chad Benson Show.
Tubin is a little ahead of himself by saying now this is so significant. It's the first time that he can see the end of the Trump presidency. But I think what really is significant is that Cohen is now Mueller's witness. And you talk to people who know and work in this world to get the number one lawyer for the person that you're really that you're aiming at is worth getting 10 other witnesses.
Well, slow your roll there, Bob Woodward. Slow your roll. Everybody's waiting for that domino to fall. This is the way I look at it. I step back and I see what's going on with Cohen and Manafort and all of this stuff. And you've got the guy that's the fixer, the guy that is.
You have somebody who's in Trump's innermost circle for so long, who's known as his fixer, who knows where the bodies are buried, who's stepping up and admitting that he lied to Congress to cover up the continued business dealings between Donald Trump and the Trump Organization during the campaign when Trump had already clinched the nomination, contrary to what Trump was saying at the time.
So you've got this guy, right? Like, so this has to be the domino. I mean, he was involved in everything. No, I've been saying it for days. He's the guy that fixes the personal side of things. He's not the guy. He's the guy that knows where the salaciousness is buried. He's the guy that knows where and who the models were that he was hanging out with. He's the guy that knows what went on in the cabin on the skiing weekend when Melania wasn't there. He's that guy. Is he super deep embedded in the business side of things? No, he's not. Trump's not going to hire some dude just to hire some guy that's the. You're going to hire if you're going to look at a business, when you look at the size of Trump Industries, they have law firms working for them. Not a single guy. Were they close? Yeah, because Trump liked to have fun, like the ladies on the side, right? So, yeah, they were close, but not in the way I think people think. And here's the other thing, and this is something I think you need to understand. Whoever that witness is, if that witness is out there, then chances are that witness has done a crime that is punishable by jail time. But because they have enough information that it could bring down the president of the United States and cause him to either be impeached or resign and end his presidency, that person has a get out of jail card for whatever they've done for free. Not you're going to jail for 4 years on this, and you may be sentenced up to 5 years for lying to Congress, so you're looking at 9 years, and if good behavior, if they end up sentencing you that, you may get out of this thing with, no. you're not going to see any time inside of a cell. Manafort didn't have that because he didn't have the information they needed. No. And if Cohen had information that would bring down the presidency, you don't think that a good attorney that he's supposed to be and that he's surrounding himself with wouldn't also step up and say, yeah, we've got all the information you guys need. We got stuff that would change everything, that shows directly Trump involved from start to finish with the Russians, plotting out as they colluded together to conspire to hack the DNC, to destroy Hillary Clinton, to fix the election for him. What's it worth to you? My client wants to walk free, never see the inside of a jail, period, case closed, end of story. And whatever transgressions have happened, including the $4 million fraud and tax evasion, you guys are going to look the other way. He'll pay a small fine, and that will be that. Record clean, and you can't touch his license. That'd be worth it, wouldn't it? Sammy the Bull Gravano. You guys know the name. He was second in charge right under John Gotti. Sammy killed 19 people. Did very little time. None for killing anybody. Why? Because he had enough information to bring down the mob boss, the Teflon Don. And he said, I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you how I did it. I'll confess it all right here. I don't ever want to go to jail for it. And I'll give you enough that you can put this guy away forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever again. They said, okay. Do you think if he had something that was real, that if he had something that was so concrete as to change the course of American politics over the last 24 months and going forward, that they wouldn't have cut a deal with him? Come on. Be smarter than that. Now, there may be somebody out there who's got something. Maybe it is Corsi. Maybe it is Roger Stone. Maybe it is. And they're just waiting. But these little ancillary characters, right, that were, just bit players, right? Side notes on a Wikipedia page? Not these guys. Nope. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. I like funny stories, and this is a funny story. So, if you're going to go to Starbucks, and many of you have probably been to Starbucks before, right? You've gone to Starbucks and you've enjoyed yourself. Producer Phil and I always talk about it. There's a time and a place for everything. All right? There is. Right? There's a time and a place for everything. Starbucks says, yeah, that may be true, but this is not the place for that time.
If you were hoping to squeeze in a porn session during a coffee run to your local Starbucks, I have bad news for you. In 2019, the company will start blocking explicit imagery over the free Wi-Fi networks it provides in its U.S. stores. Honestly, though, you should really be saving that for at home anyway.
A time. It is a time and a place. Like people who I don't get it, right? Like I don't get why you would want to watch porn in a public place like Starbucks or on an airplane or at the library, or I just never got it work. There are people that they'll be looking at porn at like in their workplace. I'm amazed. I'm always amazed. Are you that bad? It's like, do you need to? I mean, it's like, is there something going on here? I mean, I'm not quite sure, but into Starbucks, it's like, hey, hold on a second. I gotta check this thing out, right? Yeah. I gotta check this thing out over here. It's one of my favorites. It's Captain Stabbin'. Hey, give me a latte.
The coffee chain's announcement follows a years-long campaign by anti-porn organization Enough is Enough to get it to block explicit imagery on its networks. In 2016, Starbucks told CNN that it would implement porn blocking filters in its stores worldwide, but hasn't delivered on that promise.
Enough is enough is enough is enough. This makes it, to me, when I hear something like this, I'm thinking to myself, do they just want to get rid of porn altogether? Is that like, because it kind of feels like that way. Porn in public? I'm okay with that. Again, time and a place.
We started the Safe Wi-Fi campaign a number of years ago, calling on corporate America to voluntarily filter child pornography and pornography on their public Wi-Fi networks. And we actually started with McDonald's and Starbucks.
Well, child pornography, absolutely. Right? Like, that should be a given. Child pornography, 110%. But this is one of those things where, like, this isn't it kind of always been this way?
It's always been against the rules to view porn on Starbucks networks. But if you didn't care about being caught, or, if public decency is a foreign concept for you, you could technically do it. With the upcoming block, though, you'll no longer be able to.
Oh, listen to her. She's all, So with all that going on, right, at Starbucks, then you've got prisoners in Iowa who are upset because they can't look at porn anymore.
Well, essentially the bill is to do away with nude magazines. The department really feels that inmates having access to that type of material does not lend itself to pro-social thinking behavior, and part of our responsibility to change the mindset of offenders as they transition back into the community.
Yeah, pro-social behavior. There's a reason they're there, and maybe if they let off a little steam, they wouldn't be so angry. So we're just going to, and they're suing. They want $25,000 each, these inmates, and because they feel like this is unconstitutional. Oh, man, sex is everywhere. Sex sells. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. If you don't think that, I mean, my goodness, we're talking about Donald Trump. What is a lot of what we talk about? It's salaciousness. It's Stormy Daniels. It's all of these other, things that have gone on. A lot of that's sex, because sex sells. Hey, ExpressVPN. Don't worry, kids. If you want to go to Starbucks and you're worried about what may be on your old data browsing history, this is where you need ExpressVPN. Let me tell you something. People are worried. Like today, was it 500 million accounts were apparently breached? Was it the Marriott or whatever? That's massive. Data, all of that stuff being stolen and gobbled up. This is what you want to do. Your virtual private network, ExpressVPN's the best around. It is incredible. It's a great way to protect yourself on the front end and the back end. I'll tell you why. First of all, it's easy to use. Runs seamlessly in the background of your computer, phone, or tablet, right? And I've got it on mine. Works great. Secures and anonymizes your internet browsing history, encrypting the data and hiding your public IP address. It's less than $7 a month. That's a win-win, kid, right there. And get ready for this. They give you a 30-day money-back guarantee, #1 rated by TechRadar. So if you ever use public Wi-Fi, you want to keep hackers and spies from seeing your data, ExpressVPN is the solution. This is what they're doing for my listeners right now. 3 months free. 3 months free. Sign up today. Go to expressvpn.com/Benson, EXPRESSVPN.com/Benson for 3 months free with a year package. expressvpn.com/Benson to learn more. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Take one giant step to the left.
Did you ever have anyone embarrass you like this?
One giant step to the right.
That's all that separates you from everything else that came from slime.
You are now in the alt-middle, where it's just right.
Call if you get weird.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
Federal health officials don't normally see a surge in flu case reports until December, but at one emergency room in Fort Worth,
starting Thanksgiving weekend, for some reason, we start getting busy.
That city's ambulance service has had 226 flu patients since September 1st, a 5-fold increase from the same period last year. Deborah Morris is suffering the classic symptoms: cough, body aches, and
my head hurts over my eyes.
Instead of pondering reasons for the early flu onset, health officials here are trying to get ahead of a potentially busy season.
All right, little pinch.
By vaccinating as many people as they can.
Absolutely. Be smart out there. And one of the things that people need to understand about the flu is your smartphone is evil. So what do you touch throughout the day in your home, at your office, wherever you are? What's the thing? Is it the mouse? Chances are it's your smartphone. And then you put your smartphone down, and then you put your smartphone here, and then you put your smartphone there. That thing is a petri dish of germs. Wash your hands, and if you're young, really young, if you're really old, if you have a compromised immune system, get a flu shot. It's not 100%, but it is going to be bad this year. It is. It is absolutely going to be bad this year. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So Melania Trump got hammered for the red Christmas tree, and she really got taken to task for it. And everybody's like, oh, it looks like the Handmaid's Tale, and she looks evil, and the Trumps, and blah, 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 blah. But I'm here to tell you some stuff's happening out there in the world of chic Christmas.
Dreaming of a white Christmas.
Bing wanted a white Christmas, while Elvis was having a blue one. And now, for many, it's black that is the new green. In fact, there are thousands of posts on Instagram, people sharing the hashtag Black Christmas Tree.
Yeah, the Black Christmas Tree is the she thing to have, right? Like, sometimes you go over to people's houses, you ever, like, because we're going to decorate this week. So the kids and I, we're going to all decorate, and it's going to be insane. Like, because I want to make it look like the Griswold's Christmas. Like, I love the blow up things, the plastic stuff. I want it to look like fun. Right? I do. But my ex, man, when she decorated, oh God, it was like going to like Nordstrom's, right? It was like, hi, and she would give me a tree that it could be my own, like she used to call it like my white trash tree, because I'd have like the different colored bulbs, the 1970s bulbs on them and stuff, and they would twinkle, and the damn light would go out, and you have to chase it trying to figure out where it is, and and I could put up my own ornaments, because her ornaments and those ornaments couldn't touch that tree. I love that. This is just she.
So why the trend?
It goes with everything. It goes with any kind of decor. And because our real life decor has really started to become what's going to look good on social media, green doesn't always cut it.
Yeah, green doesn't. That's the person you want to celebrate Christmas with, because green does not always cut it. And really, it's not about whether or not you have a Merry Christmas. It's whether or not you have a Merry Instagram.
Meg says she chose the goth look as a break from the traditional evergreen.
It's just something about it that's just different and just pretty and sparkly, and I don't know, I like different.
I like different, but I'm glad that everybody's doing the same different that I am, because I don't want to be too different. People are like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh, I don't know. I'm just, call me old-fashioned, kids. I like just regular old-fashioned kind of Christmas trees. You know, just regular old kind. Which one are you going to get? I want a Douglas fir. Do you want this kind? Put it up in there. Do you want any frost on it? Maybe just a little bit. It depends on the time of year. And I want to get it just covered with all kinds of stuff. And that's what Christmas to me is all about. I couldn't do that sterile Christmas. I don't like any of that stuff. Don't get, like, I can have a fake tree. Like, if somebody's sick, you know, fake tree, but I always got to have a natural tree. I got to have a natural tree. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You tweet at us. So Starbucks is doing something. They're banning something, right? Starbucks is banning something. Wait till you hear what they're banning. Oh, kids, because there's a time and a place for everything. No, this is not the time, and nor is that the place to do it. But they're banning it just in case. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
keeping count of those aftershocks, and there have been well over 50 of them so far. And we're told that Alaskans should brace themselves over the coming days for many more, including some that could be powerful enough to liquefy the earth. That means that they could actually turn the soil into a consistency that's similar to quicksand. That's what we likely saw today. Thankfully, no one was killed.
Yeah, 7.0 tsunami warnings, lots of aftershocks in the coming days. And for people who've never been in an earthquake, there's really two kinds of earthquakes. And for those of you who've been in it, you understand. There's that earthquake that is shallow. This one was 25 miles below the earth. It was more of a rumbler. It was more of a long-lasting earthquake. And then you have the shallow ones that come really quick and they shake violently, but they don't last very long. The long rumbling ones like this one are the more dangerous. And sometimes they're a prelude to even a bigger earthquake, which is kind of like, you know, people are like, they understand. Because if you live in earthquake country, you get it. Like, you understand what potentially could come. And it was crazy because and for me, the big earthquakes I've been in, by and large, most of them have been, middle of the night, early morning. It happens. And you're like, you just wake up out of it. And you're like, oh my God. Like the Northridge quake and a few of the other ones, you just, boom, you wake up out of them. You're like, whoa. But this hit right there. Boom. People were at work, people doing stuff, and it was crazy.
Alaska's biggest city seemed completely cut off from the world. Roads cratered. For several hours, the city's airports shut down. And before evacuating their tower, air traffic controllers frantically waving off incoming planes.
Yeah, they were. They were totally doing that. Like, yeah, hey, just, whoa, we're not quite sure what to do here, so you're going to have to go somewhere else. Luckily, though, when you think about it, because, again, that's that ring of fire. You've got that from, Mexico all the way up until, through Washington State, up and then in Alaska. You've got this horrific area of volcanoes and activity. And what ends up happening is it's beautiful. It's incredible. But nature, as we always talk about, at any given time will mess you up if given the opportunity. It will mess you up. But for all of that today, no deaths. That's amazing. And the reason? Because people understand. They build for it. And many of these buildings, the places, they're built in situations where they're on rollers. And and people who've been in these things will tell you, it's the second, third, fourth, fifth, the aftershocks that come that do the biggest damage. The other ones loosen everything up. It's like a boxer, right? Who works the body for 6 or 7 rounds, and then boom, you're just weakened. And that's what usually happens. And it's one of those, it's crazy. It's scary, right? Because unlike a lot of other things, like we know if you live in the Midwest, the weather you're looking for, the skies, you can kind of get a sense of stuff. Now, you don't know if it's coming or not. Same thing with a blizzard. You know it's coming. You know a hurricane's coming. You don't know. There's no, it's earthquake season. So we got to prepare. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. This is pretty funny. So we live in a world of what ifs. Sometimes you'd think about that, like the what if world. And Chuck Todd posed a very funny question about what if Donald Trump didn't win?
How different would things be if Donald Trump had lost the presidential election? In fact, lots of people would probably be happy today. Let me go through a list. Donald Trump would be happy. He could have built his Moscow Tower with his bestie Vladimir Putin, and no one would have cared. Michael Cohen would be happy. He'd still be Mr. Trump's right-hand guy. Paul Manafort would be happy. He could be living in luxury anywhere around the world, sitting at a bar, not behind bars. Melania Trump, my guess is she'd be happy. She could be living in New York still. And guess what? She really wouldn't have to care, would she?
No, she wouldn't. But nothing would change. And by that, I mean, this would just be the polar opposite of what we have now. Instead of the Democrats going after Trump, it would be the exact same thing with emails, Benghazi, Clinton Foundation. that's what it would look like from the other side.
Republicans, they can be happy. They likely would have won 40 House seats in the midterms, and they might have a 60-seat majority in the Senate. Conservatives would be happy. Those bigger Republican majorities could come in handy for them in their impeachment proceedings against President Hillary Clinton. Roger Stone and Bill O'Reilly would be happy. They'd be the big stars on Trump Max TV. Rex Tillerson, Jeff Sessions, Scott Pruitt, Tom Price, and many others would probably be happier than they are today. They'd still have their reputations intact.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting. But, like, you don't think the Republicans would be they would be subpoenaing every single day, trying to find, turning over every rock, looking for everything that they possibly could look for to find those emails. How do we get those emails? Where are those emails? I need those emails. How do I get to those emails? What can we do to find those emails? We need that. Benghazi, it'd be the same thing. We'd be in a situation. Now, would there be as many marches? Would there be all that stuff? No, but there would still be investigation after investigation, talk of impeachment. The difference would come noticeably in the way that things are covered. You wouldn't have nonstop negativity and the hunt for all of these things minus Fox. It would be reversed there. It would probably be all positivity with a little bit of shots here and there. And then on the other side, it would be, talk radio would be just, she's the worst person in the history of the world, blah, 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 uranium one, and all of that stuff. But we don't. We live in this world, and this world is, it's tribal.
There are people who are watching this who think, Kasich's happy. Maybe he'll run for president. Chris, this makes me sick to my stomach, all of these things that are happening, because I believe, like you, we love our country. We worry about our country. We worry about, what kind of message this sends to the world. And but we're in tribal politics.
Yeah, we live in tribal politics. Absolutely we do. We live in tribal politics. We live in a tribal society anymore when it comes to our viewpoints, and all of us now are only seem to be happy in our echo chambers, and to even think about conspiring with the enemy, which is how other people would look at it. You can't even think about that. You can't even think about talking to somebody in many ways who has a different viewpoint than you. And that's not a good, that is no way, shape, or form a good place to be. I don't think so.
Question is, why does he have 90% Republican support? Well, look at the party. It's shrinking. It's dramatically lost membership. And it is one of the joy that I say that those House elections, I think the Republicans lost 39 seats. There was a blue wave, something that I thought would happen. However, that was done on the basis of anti-Trump. I still don't know what the Democrat message was.
No, it wasn't. But he's right about one thing. It's shrinking. It is shrinking. And I asked my Republican friend, who's a political operative guy that works with a bunch of Republican campaigns and organizations, and I said, "What is your message?" Because you guys are becoming the party of Trump. The problem is Trump's going to go away at some time. He's going to either term himself out, he's going to check out and say, "I've had enough, and I'm going to only do these 4 years." Or, God forbid, that they find a bunch of other stuff and he's going to be out on his ass and potentially indicted, all of this kind of stuff. Then you've sold your soul for what? Because those people, that solid base, the 90% support is they like his actions. They don't like who he is. But that group that is his base, they're not coming back. They don't care about politics after Trump. They're there for Trump. How do you build that back up? Can you even build that back up? I don't think you can. Not with the way that they're what they have. I just don't. I don't foresee it. And the left has its own problems, right? They're pulling themselves apart. Democrats are now considered somewhat moderate conservatives if you're not a progressive.
People are upset in this country. They don't want to see these kinds of things happening. Party shrinking, can it be saved? I don't know. I'm a Republican. We did pretty well out here, Chris, but I run the politics of inclusiveness.
Yeah. And you got to figure out a way, because you're alienating women, you're people of color, or whatever you want to alienating them in a lot of ways. You're cozying up with a wink and a nod to groups that are awful. You better figure something out, because you are becoming a non-factor. A non-factor. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. One of the other stories we're following today, and we touched on a little bit earlier, is what's going on in the NFL. Because if you haven't heard, one of the teams out there that is a big team that many people think have the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl, the Chiefs, potentially losing their MVP for the year, and who knows what will happen after that, because Kareem Hunt was seen on a video from February beating a woman and kicking a woman who he said wouldn't leave her room, and she said her thing was that he wanted me to have sex with somebody in his entourage. And why is it that TMZ breaks this story, that nobody else had heard about this? There's a lot of questions out there. I just think this is the way that this once again is done is TMZ's breaking something, because they're the best news thing around. And I look out there and I say, what are you doing, NFL?
When there's a video like this, either they saw the video and decided not to address it, or they didn't investigate it enough to get the video that TMZ released this afternoon at 2:30. There's no easy way around this at this particular point in time. And so when the video surfaces today, the league or the Chiefs, one or the other, has to take a stance that is going to be strong, that's going to make up for all the time that we didn't see this video, and is going to reflect the stance that the league has tried to adopt in all the years that the domestic violence issues have come into the NFL and changed the way that society looks at these issues.
Absolutely. And I think that the Chiefs are looking and think we have a chance to go to the Super Bowl this year. And we've got a guy that is potentially an MVP candidate who fumbled on his first play, and then since then he's not fumbled again, and he's an absolute just a juggernaut on the field. I think they look the other way. If you really want to find, you can find. How much did they really want to know? And the NFL this is not a good look. It is not a good look. And he's probably going to go on the exemption list, which means he's going to be suspended for the rest of the year. And they're going to let this thing play itself out. There's no criminal charges from what I understand. So I don't know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter. My Pillow is amazing. I'm going to go home tonight and pass out. After a long, hard day's work, watch a little live PD and go to bed. And when I do, I'll lay my head on my Pillow and I'm going to sleep like a baby. Here's what they're doing right now. Buy one, get one free. Why I love My Pillow is it's just so, my head, the alignment, it's just incredible. I pass out. It's like I'm sleeping on a cloud. 100% machine washable and dryable. Cotton made in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. And it's great because right now you can buy one, get one free. The BOGO, they call it, kids. The BOGO. All you have to do is call 800-983-4975 or go to mypillow.com. Use promo code Benson. You're going to buy one, get one free. And I have not slept, like last night, I slept 6.5, 7 hours. I had to get up. I went to bed really late. I was doing a bunch of work, and I got up early. But those hours I was sleeping, that used to be like a week for me, that many hours. And that's how much sleep I'm getting nowadays. And when I don't have my Pillow, when I travel, you can feel the difference for me. Try it yourself. 800-983-4975. Go to mypillow.com. Use promo code Benson. Here's a great thing, too. This is between us. All right, it's between you and me. You buy one, you get one free. Meaning, Mom, Dad, honey, I got you a MyPillow. Oh, you shouldn't have. That is the greatest thing. I was having trouble sleeping. Or whatever. Thank you so much. I can't believe it. I'm just playing a part here. Well, what happens is you got one for yourself. So it is a win-win. Oh, yeah. 800-983-4975. Go to mypillow.com. Use promo code Benson. They're ruining my memories, and now they're doing it to a song. First it was Rudolph. Couldn't say Merry Christmas. Any of these kind of things. Now, a song that I actually like. is apparently in the Me Too generation of Christmas time no-nos. Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
I'll take your hat. Your hair looks swell.
I ought to say no,
Mind if I'm moving
At least I'm gonna say that I tried.
What's the sense of hurting my pride?
I really can't stay.
Baby, don't hold out. Baby,
but it's cold outside.
So that song is apparently kind of sexually salty, if you will, is what I'm hearing, and stations are starting to make a move that maybe we should get rid of this in this generation.
On WDOK or Christmas 102,
It's the most wonderful time.
it's all Christmas music all the time.
Christmas music 24/7.
But this year, one song has been pulled from the playlist.
I really can't stay.
But baby, it's cold outside.
The tune might be catchy, but let's maybe not promote that sort of an idea.
Now, I'm just over it. You know, from the bullying of this Rudolph the other night and how people complained about it and all of these things. And it's funny because you got a younger generation. That this is just wrong. This is the listeners and look at this thing. It's horrible the way that this sounds. Yet I go into a place the other day, get my hair cut. Everybody's rocking out in there. They're dropping the N-bombs every 30 seconds in the music. And I was like, I can't believe this. And you were listening today, Steve, right? Meek Mill's dropped his album, as they would say.
Yeah.
And you said it's a little bit rough, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But somehow that's okay. But, you know, you've got Dean Martin singing here, and it's kind of this flirty, I can't stay. And all of a sudden this is me too. Stop ruining memories. It's a damn song, right? Baby, it's cold outside. Get over yourself. Are we going to have to get rid of the movie Elf now? Can that not be shown because they sing that song in this? Say what? I know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Tweet. Check out Facebook as well, The Chad Benson Show. Oh, and go grab yourself the podcast wherever available. I think it's on iTunes, TuneIn Radio app, and whatnot. Download it, take a listen. Love your feedback. Give it to us always. I try to get back to as many people as possible. Text the program 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, it's The Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Tubin is a little ahead of himself by saying now this is so significant. It's the first time that he can see the end of the Trump presidency. But I think what really is significant is that Cohen is now Mueller's witness. And you talk to people who know and work in this world to get the number one lawyer for the person that you're really that you're aiming at is worth getting 10 other witnesses.
Well, slow your roll there, Bob Woodward. Slow your roll. Everybody's waiting for that domino to fall. This is the way I look at it. I step back and I see what's going on with Cohen and Manafort and all of this stuff. And you've got the guy that's the fixer, the guy that is.
To have somebody who's in Trump's innermost circle for so long, who's known as his fixer, who knows where the bodies are buried, who's stepping up and admitting that he lied to Congress to cover up the continued business dealings between Donald Trump and the Trump Organization during the campaign when Trump had already clinched the nomination, contrary to what Trump was saying at the time.
So you've got this guy, right? Like, so this has to be the domino. I mean, he was involved in everything. No, I've been saying it for days. He's the guy that fixes the personal side of things. He's not the guy. He's the guy that knows where the salaciousness is buried. He's the guy that knows where and who the models were that he was hanging out with. He's the guy that knows what went on in the cabin on the skiing weekend when Melania wasn't there. He's that guy. Is he super deep embedded in the business side of things? No, he's not. Trump's not going to hire some dude just to hire some guy that's the. You're going to hire if you're going to look at a business, when you look at the size of Trump Industries, they have law firms working for them. Not a single guy. Were they close? Yeah, because Trump liked to have fun, like the ladies on the side, right? So, yeah, they were close, but not in the way I think people think. And here's the other thing, and this is something I think you need to understand. Whoever that witness is, if that witness is out there, then chances are that witness has done a crime that is punishable by jail time. But because they have enough information that it could bring down the president of the United States and cause him to either be impeached or resign and end his presidency, that person has a get out of jail card for whatever they've done for free. Not you're going to jail for 4 years on this, and you maybe sentence up to 5 years for lying to Congress, so you're looking at 9 years, and if good behavior, if they end up sentencing you that, you may get out of this thing with, no. You're not going to see any time inside of a cell. Manafort didn't have that, because he didn't have the information they needed. No. And if Cohen had information that would bring down the presidency, you don't think that a good attorney that he's supposed to be and that he's surrounding himself with wouldn't also step up and say, yeah, we've got all the information you guys need. We got stuff that would change everything, that shows directly Trump involved from start to finish with the Russians, plotting out as they colluded together to conspire to hack the DNC, to destroy Hillary Clinton, to fix the election for him. What's it worth to you? My client wants to walk free, never see the inside of a jail, period, case closed, end of story. And whatever transgressions have happened, including the $4 million fraud and tax evasion, you guys are going to look the other way. He'll pay a small fine, and that will be that. Record clean, and you can't touch his license. That'd be worth it, wouldn't it? Sammy the Bull Gravano. You guys know the name. He was second in charge right under John Gotti. Sammy killed 19 people. Did very little time. None for killing anybody. Why? Because he had enough information to bring down the mob boss, the Teflon Don. And he said, I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you how I did it. I'll confess it all right here. I don't ever want to go to jail for it. And I'll give you enough that you can put this guy away forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever again. They said, okay. Do you think if he had something that was real, that if he had something that was so concrete as to change the course of American politics over the last 24 months and going forward, that they wouldn't have cut a deal with him? Come on. Be smarter than that. Now, there may be somebody out there who's got something. Maybe it is Corsi. Maybe it is Roger Stone. Maybe it is. And they're just waiting. But these little ancillary characters, right, that were, just bit players, right? Side notes on a Wikipedia page? Not these guys. Nope. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. One of the other stories that's going on today, it was shaking a little while ago today in Alaska.
Yeah. Emergency alert, tsunami danger on the coast. Yep. High ground or move. Well, we don't get tsunamis though here. We don't get tsunamis here. But in Seward.
Yeah, massive earthquake, 7.0. Power's out, tsunami warning. Roads are destroyed. It's it's wintertime, so even though it's early there, during the day, it's still pretty much pitch black. You've got snow everywhere. It is ugly situation, and then the worry is what's going to happen from here, right? What's going to happen from this point? Is there going to be something bigger? Is there a tsunami coming? Is there another earthquake behind it? How much road damage was done? How much damage across the way was done? But a 7.0 is a massive, that's a big earthquake. That is a big, big, big earthquake. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love hearing from you. I like funny stories, and this is a funny story. So, if you're going to go to Starbucks, and many of you have probably been to Starbucks before, right? You've gone to Starbucks and you've enjoyed yourself. Producer Phil and I always talk about it. There is a time and a place for everything. All right? There is. Right? There's a time and a place for everything. Starbucks says, yeah, that may be true, but this is not the place for that time.
If you were hoping to squeeze in a porn session during a coffee run to your local Starbucks, I have bad news for you. In 2019, the company will start blocking explicit imagery over the free Wi-Fi networks it provides in its U.S. stores. Honestly, though, you should really be saving that for at home anyway.
A time. It is a time and a place. Like people who I don't get it, right? Like I don't get why you would want to watch porn in a public place like Starbucks or on an airplane or at the library, or I just never got it work. There are people that they'll be looking at porn at like in their workplace. I'm amazed. I'm always amazed. Are you that bad? Do you need to? I mean, it's like, is there something going on here? I mean, I'm not quite sure, but into Starbucks, it's like, hey, hold on a second. I gotta check this thing out, right? Yeah. I got to check this thing out over here. It's one of my favorites. It's Captain Stabbin'. Hey, give me a latte.
The coffee chain's announcement follows a years-long campaign by anti-porn organization Enough is Enough to get it to block explicit imagery on its networks. In 2016, Starbucks told CNN that it would implement porn blocking filters in its stores worldwide, but hasn't delivered on that promise.
Enough is enough is enough is enough. This makes it, to me, when I hear something like this, I'm thinking to myself, do they just want to get rid of porn altogether? Is that like, because it kind of feels like that way. Porn in public? I'm okay with that. Again, time and a place.
We started the Safe Wi-Fi campaign a number of years ago, calling on corporate America to voluntarily filter child pornography and pornography on their public Wi-Fi networks. And we actually started with McDonald's and Starbucks.
Well, child pornography, absolutely. Right? Like, that should be a given. Child pornography, 110%. But this is one of those things where, like, this isn't it kind of always been this way?
It's always been against the rules to view porn on Starbucks networks. But if you didn't care about being caught, or, if public decency is a foreign concept for you, you could technically do it. With the upcoming block, though, you'll no longer be able to.
Oh, listen to her. She's all, So with all that going on, right, at Starbucks, then you've got prisoners in Iowa who are upset because they can't look at porn anymore.
Well, essentially, the bill is to do away with nude magazines. The department really feels that inmates having access to that type of material does not lend itself to pro-social thinking behavior, and part of our responsibility to change the mindset of offenders as they transition back into the community. So
yeah, pro-social behavior. There's a reason they're there, and maybe if they let off a little steam, they wouldn't be so angry. So we're just going to – and they're suing. They want $25,000 each, these inmates, and because they feel like this is unconstitutional. Oh, man, sex is everywhere. Sex sells. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. If you don't think that, I mean, my goodness, we're talking about Donald Trump. What is a lot of what we talk about? It's salaciousness. It's Stormy Daniels. It's all of these other, things that have gone on. A lot of that's sex, because sex sells. Hey, ExpressVPN. Don't worry, kids. If you want to go to Starbucks and you're worried about what may be on your old data browsing history, this is where you need ExpressVPN. Let me tell you something. People are worried. Like today, was it 500 million accounts were apparently breached? Was it the Marriott or whatever? That's massive. Data, all of that stuff being stolen and gobbled up. This is what you want to do. Your virtual private network, ExpressVPN is the best around. It is incredible. It's a great way to protect yourself on the front end and the back end. I'll tell you why. First of all, it's easy to use. Runs seamlessly in the background of your computer, phone, or tablet, right? And I've got it on mine. Works great. Secures and anonymizes your internet browsing history, encrypting the data and hiding your public IP address. It's less than $7 a month. That's a win-win, kid, right there. And get ready for this. They give you a 30-day money-back guarantee, #1 rated by TechRadar. So if you ever use public Wi-Fi, you want to keep hackers and spies from seeing your data, ExpressVPN is the solution. This is what they're doing for my listeners right now. 3 months free. 3 months free. Sign up today. Go to expressvpn.com/Benson, expressvpn.com/Benson for 3 months free with a year package. expressvpn.com/Benson to learn more. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah, the Chad Benson Show.
Oh, man. What a day, right? Trump's got the new trade deal signed with old Canada and Mexico. Hanging out at the G20, right? Trying to put some deals together, doing some stuff there, swerving and grooving and whatnot. It's got all of stuff hanging over his head with Cohen and this just craziness. I mean, it's like never ending with Trump. You know, normally politics has ebbs and flows. There's certain times a year. But have you ever thought about the alternative universe as if, what if he didn't?
How different would things be if Donald Trump had lost the presidential election? In fact, lots of people would probably be happy today. Let me go through a list. Donald Trump would be happy. He could have built his Moscow Tower with his bestie Vladimir Putin, and no one would have cared. Michael Cohen would be happy. He'd still be Mr. Trump's right-hand guy. Paul Manafort would be happy. He could be living in luxury anywhere around the world, sitting at a bar, not behind bars. Melania Trump, my guess is she'd be happy. She could be living in New York still. And guess what? She really wouldn't have to care, would she?
No. But it's interesting, right? Like, I mean, let's be real. These people are in trouble because they've done things that were wrong. It wasn't like Trump came along and their lives were totally clean and all of a sudden they were associated with Trump and then everything went to hell in a handbasket and they started doing criminal things like hiding millions of dollars and bank fraud and, and rubbing elbows with despots across the globe. No, that didn't happen. They were doing that long before Trump. So let's not forget that. But, there is that what if scenario.
Republicans, they could be happy. They likely would have won 40 House seats in the midterms, and they might have a 60-seat majority in the Senate. Conservatives would be happy. Those bigger Republican majorities could come in handy for them in their impeachment proceedings against President Hillary Clinton. Roger Stone and Bill O'Reilly would be happy. They'd be the big stars on Trump Max TV. Rex Tillerson, Jeff Sessions, Scott Pruitt, Tom Price, and many others would probably be happier than they are today. They'd still have their reputations intact.
Yeah, but we as a nation would still be looking at an embattled president because do you think the Republicans were going to give up on Benghazi or the emails? No. It would be the exact same thing, just with Hillary as president. And instead of the media destroying Hillary, though, they'd be fawning over, saying they're only doing this because she's a female, and they're only doing this because. So, but for all intents and purposes, it would kind of be the same thing, right? Like that's what would be happening if we lived in the alternative universe. It would look like this: Hillary, Trump. Pretty much would be in the same situation no matter who is president. They would be looking, is there a way we can impeach this person? We need to find out what those emails are. Bring these people in. Let's do the background search. Somebody figure out a way we get a special counsel. Oh, my goodness, we got a special counsel. Okay, that's great. Look, go after all these people. Next thing you know, Podesta and all of these other people be brought in, and we'd be going, oh, this could be a big situation because so-and-so flipped on something. Oh, yeah. And the Clinton Foundation and all of that stuff. Be the same thing. It would be. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I want to talk about something that took place a few days ago, and I didn't have a chance to get to it. But talent over controversy. What did the NFL do this week? In particular, one team that has a lot of people going, huh? It's very interesting. And blackfishing. We're going to talk about that as well. What is it? We'll wait to hear this. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Talent and trouble. A lot of times they go together. Depending on your worth, depending what your industry is, people are usually willing to give people a second chance. 49ers decided, nah, what we've got here in Reuben Foster, we're not interested in, especially in this day and age.
And this morning, they took the unusual and unique step of releasing Reuben Foster, a one-time high draft pick, loaded with talent, loaded with questions, and the 49ers ultimately decided that the talent was not worth the issues that came along with it.
So that's what they decided. Not worth the issues that came along with it. Well, why is that, and what kind of issues does this 24-year-old have?
Just days after appearing in an orange jail jumpsuit, accused again of domestic violence, the Washington Redskins are offering to put Reuben Foster in a burgundy and gold NFL uniform. The young linebacker, who has faced game suspensions and a weapons charge, was released by the 49ers after this latest incident.
Yeah, this latest incident, he was released by the 49ers because it is a domestic violence incident. And in a time when you live in the Me Too generation, right? So it's the Me Too world that we live in. Things have changed in a lot of ways for a very, very good way. Things have changed in the way that relationship between men and women and not only sexual assault, but just in a lot of other things. It's been good. And this is a sport that has issues right now with concussions. And it has issues, with the controversy surrounding Kaepernick and the knee. But this isn't the first time, right? Because for long before those things, there has been issues with talented football players who get a pass when it comes to what they've done to women. And what has he done? Well, his girlfriend apparently accused him of doing some stuff.
Your ex-boyfriend did what? Took my phone and broke it and slapped me in my face.
Claiming Foster is a controversial move for the Redskins. As police and the NFL investigate, he can't play for now.
So, took her phone, slapped her in the face. Second time this has happened. But you see, the first time, when the police investigated, they found out it was a made-up story. And that got me thinking, so wait a minute here. She made up the story that got you in trouble, that got you suspended, that almost derailed your football career the first time, and then you were dumb enough to go, I like her a lot. That makes me question who you are, right? I mean, isn't that kind of odd? Let me ask you guys this. If man or woman you're with, doesn't matter, right? You know, because women can hit too. Women can be bad too. If you had, and you were with somebody, and they accused you of something only to find out it was baloney, whatever it is, would you go back to that person who potentially cost you your job, derailed your career and your livelihood? Would you say, I really love that person?
There's no guarantee he's ever going to play here, to be honest with you. I mean, he's got a lot of work to do, personally, with the team, with the NFL, with himself, before he even thinks about playing football again.
Yeah, he does. He's got a lot of work to do, and who knows what's going to come of this. But he's young. He's talented. It's one of those things where in sports, sometimes people are willing to take the heat in a lot of things, right? If you're talented, you will get far more chances than anybody else, depending on what it is you're doing. I can guarantee you this. If the Weinstein stuff hadn't happened, if the Me Too movement hadn't happened, more teams would have put in on the waiver wire to grab this guy, right? Because he's a talent. He's absolutely, and think about this for a second. What any team could have done was, this guy could have gone through the entire process. We don't know if he's guilty or not. That'll come later on. Could he have gone through the entire process? Nobody would have grabbed him. The waiver wire he would have gone through, and then in the offseason, if the NFL would have cleared him, somebody could have then went out and signed him as a free agent. But the Redskins, being the Redskins, producer Phil, grabbed him because they thought he's a talent. So we'll take the heat that comes with it because we're willing to take the heat. And if we don't like it and we find out he did do something, we'll just cut him immediately. But if not, we got a guy, even if he comes with some controversy.
The NFL has been plagued by bad behavior of some of its players.
We recognize that domestic violence and sexual assault exist everywhere,
with the commissioner pledging in 2014 to make those players more accountable.
We'll see if that happens. We will see if that actually happens, if they're held more accountable. But when I see this, it's sad that a 24-year-old is a child, acts like an idiot, and potentially is a domestic abuser. And if he's not, because she made it up again, it's also sad that he's too immature to recognize that she has nothing but getting back at him for whatever reason, and she's willing to do that, and he's willing to give her a chance over and over again. Man, the stupid is strong with America. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. And of course, today they're continuing to talk about as all of the things swirl around of what's going to happen with our president. He's angry. He's upset. He's devastated. He can barely concentrate. He can barely eat. He can barely think about what's happening as he's over there in Argentina for the G20. And of course, the bombshell that came out yesterday.
The Russia investigation has certainly entered an explosive and new chapter, and it is right up in the president's kitchen. There are even more bombshells dropping tonight following Michael Cohen's second guilty plea. As you know, the president's former lawyer and called his fixer today tied the president to some of the highest levels of the Russian government. He says the president and he both lied about a proposed deal with the Russians. However, Michael Cohen did it to Congress. And all this was done when the president was the presumptive nominee.
Now, some of that true? Yeah, I'm sure that Trump and them, they said that they had given up the ghost of setting up the Trump Towers in Moscow in, February or May of 2016. And maybe they talked about it a little bit later. Were they actively pursuing it all the time? I don't know that. I don't know any of that stuff. Right? And I doubt we'll never know all of the truth. But it is very interesting to listen to the way that the media goes. Remember the other night, like the Manafort stuff, and he had met with WikiLeaks, and this is the dates, and the Guardian had come out and said all of those things, and everybody, and I said, well, I'd like to see some proof, right? Because I'm a proof kind of guy. And then they said, well, these are the dates that it supposedly happened. And sure enough, they look at Manafort's passport, and he wasn't anywhere near there because he had to be in London. Wasn't in it's just gone, right? So I've said all along when this whole Cohen stuff that and Trump is Don Jr., maybe Jared, now they're looking at Ivanka. They're interested in that. Did he maybe know about a meeting with some Russians? Yeah. He probably heard about 20 meetings that day from 15 different people. Hey, Dad, I'm taking a meeting with some people want to talk about something. They say they may have dirt on something. They get up there. Yeah. Or it may have been real. Like it's all orchestrated. I don't know. And I don't know if we'll ever know all of the real story. But this is what is going on right now. And I will tell it to you. If Manafort, if Papadopoulos, if any of these ancillary characters that mean very little to anybody out there, including Michael Cohen, had enough dirt, had enough evidence to bring down the most powerful person on earth, the President of the United States, to end his presidency, do you think they'd ever see a day in jail?
Think about what the position is of Donald Trump about all these things. His position is for 6 months, Michael Cohen never discussed with him that he was negotiating for a Moscow Trump Tower. It's preposterous. I mean, it's just preposterous.
Why is it preposterous? Because he's his fixer. Yeah, he is what they quote unquote call the fixer. But what exactly did he fix? That's the question, right? My contention has always been he wasn't a business. He was a personal fixer. Trump, as we all know, likes the ladies, right? Gets himself in a little bit of trouble every now and then with a Stormy Daniels or Heather McDougal or a couple co-eds potentially somewhere, who knows, right? So what do you need? You need a fixer. Bill had his. Of course I did. Hillary was, man, she's a fixer of fixers. That's what this guy was. Michael Cohen doesn't strike me as the guy that's going out there and fixing your real estate problems. Not that kind of lawyer, right? You got a head injury, and you wander into a podiatrist. They're both still doctors. Not that kind of doctor, right? This guy, a little bit sleazy, kind of doing his own thing. He's that guy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Butcher Box. Butcher Box. Meat tastes good. I love meat. You love meat. We love meat. How would you like meat delivered to your door? From Butcher Box. Grass-fed, grass-finished beef, organic free-ranging chickens, pork done so right. The fat, the flavor, the juiciness comes right to you. Less than $6 a meal for a month's worth of meat. Cuts you can't find, quality you can't find anywhere else. Premium meats delivered right to you. It is amazing. You want to know why the rest of the world hates us? Because we have meat delivered to our door. God bless America. Now, you want to get a part of this. I know you do. It makes a great Christmas gift. So you're asking yourself, Chad, what do I have to do to get this? Simple. Go to butcherbox.com/Chad. This is what they're doing for my listeners. That's you guys out there. They're going to say, hey, listener of Chad show, you guys rock, and you're going to love this meat. We're going to give you $20 off, and for the life of your subscription, you're going to get free bacon, and the bacon alone is worth it. And you're like, sold! It's not that expensive, less than $6 a meal for a month's worth of meat. You're going to have to get a new refrigerator or freezer, something like that. Butcherbox.com/Chad. Butcherbox.com/Chad. Hurry, offer ends soon. Butcherbox.com/Chad. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. ChadBenson. Got your useless fact of the day. Wrap it up straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
Anchorage police say they are operational right now and dealing with multiple unfolding situations. Police say there is major infrastructure damage across Anchorage, that many homes and buildings have damage, many roads have buckled and are now closed. They're telling people in Anchorage to remain indoors and to not drive around.
Yeah, massive earthquake earlier today in Anchorage, 7.0, lots of damage over the next coming, several hours throughout the day and tomorrow. We'll find out more and more about it. So far, there's been 15 big aftershocks. It was registered about 41 kilometers, about 25 and a half miles beneath the surface. And it is huge. Listen to some of this stuff. This is the Anchorage air traffic control as they converse with an airplane and try to figure out exactly what's going on there, because people are flying in and it's shaking.
Foothills 4, we're going to evacuate the tower. We need it inspected. So we're going to be closing up. If you want a taxi back, I can get you moving back.
Yeah, I guess we can repo back to our hangar. How long a timeline are we looking at?
I'm not sure, Foothills 4, but we're closing up here. So you can proceed on runway 7 right from Echo and exit at Foxtrot.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And we'll see what kind of damage. There's a tsunami warning. Don't know how long that's going to last. But it is something they're going to be looking at. And is there going to be something bigger? People are reporting what it was like. It was one of those things where it was, because people who've been in earthquakes understand there's two kinds of earthquakes. You get the shaker, right? So you get that kind of like out of nowhere, shake. And that one that one's crazy. But the one that I always tell everybody, the one that I always hate was, so you've got the shaker's shallower and it's fast and usually it's gone quick. It's the ones where you hear them. That right there is the ones that always, that damage is going to be big, and that's what this one was.
Before the shaking started, Melody Blankenship says she could hear the quake.
A few seconds before, it sounds, an earthquake sounds like a rumble, almost like a train going by on the train track. And it did the same thing, and it was even the same with the aftershock. You heard it a little bit, and then you could feel it.
And then she says everything shook violently. In her 30 years in Alaska, she has never felt an earthquake so strong. She says immediately reports began coming in of damage and lights out around Anchorage.
Yeah, that's that is just insane. And if you look at the biggest earthquakes ever, it's some big earthquakes, but Alaska is known to have massive earthquakes. Some that last a very, very long time. And I think they had one in the 60s that lasted quite a long time. I think the biggest earthquake ever was in Chile. I think it was like a 9, if I'm correct. I think that was the biggest one. But Alaska, this one today is a 7. They've had a 7.9, which is a pretty big one. But in this, let's see here, in the 60s, I think was the big one they had. That was 1964. It was a 9.2. 139 people died. There was a tsunami in that one, but it wasn't big. And the depth on that one was 23 kilometers. So that's crazy. That is nuts. So hopefully, judging by it, there's a lot of damage, a lot of power outage, but I think I don't think there's any reports of deaths. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. And for those of you who are stressed out, maybe listening to the show, because the Chad Benson Show is in Anchorage, by the way, for those of you not keeping score, maybe you need to relax. Apparently, according to scientists, this song reduces anxiety by up to 60% in people. This is like the magic elixir song. You guys feeling calm? Feeling calm? Anybody? Wait, what? What? I like that. Oh, I don't like that anymore. AC/DC does make me feel calm. I listen to AC/DC every morning. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. Your useless fact of the day. You ever wonder where we got the word blue blood from? Well, in the Middle Ages, the veins of fair-complexioned people of Spain appeared to have blue blood in them. That way they were untainted by the Moors, they said. Hence, they were they start to call people blue bloods, and that's why you get the term blue blood. Come from the Spanish in the Middle Ages. Think about that. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Be safe. Be kind to each other. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.